this is the DLA that Svein Wheelfield made. This is the DLA for Norway for local governments, and supportive documents. And these are documents that says something about the direction that the local governments should move into, like in a modern sense, in terms of evolution, citizens, services, social inclusion, and everything. Right? So it goes through the whole thing about what they should know about. And then we say something about strategic management, and we say that 2/3 of the population, 2/3 of the chief executives in Norway, they actually don't know how to deal with ICT. Right? And and there is actually 2 measures that says that senior executives in Norway don't know how to actually utilize and how to use ICT as a tool for getting better services and effective planning and usage. And the big issue here is that what this one says, the number of local governments actually doing something about this is very small, but the number of population doing this is very high. Mm-hmm. And what we're saying is that the big cities are doing it, but the small cities do not. Right. So the small local governments. So what we're getting is a situation where the big cities are actually delivering advanced services and getting better, while the small-sized cities, local governments, they're falling back. Right? So they're not because the capacity and competence and whatever, the small local governments are not able to deal with it in the same way as the big ones are. So we're getting a big difference in services between local governments, and that's a big issue. So then we problemize that, okay, if you're not dealing with it, your big city neighbor is going to have advanced services, and you as a small local government, you're going to suffer, because you're not going to be able to deliver the same services to the citizens as the big ones are. And that's something you need to deal with. So then we introduce the concept of the networks. We call it strategic management and ICT in Norway, which is basically the SEMSTI concept. And then we introduce who has done it, where we're planning it, and what areas are planning it now. And then we say basically how we do it. We say the network of 15 local governments. We say that the mayors of each local government should participate, especially on the first network meeting. We have 4 gatherings between 8 to 10 months, and it's over 2 days, lunch to lunch. The siesta part, you remember that, Sophie?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I remember
that. And the reason we're saying that is that these are networks. These are people that need to get together and discuss things and socialize as well. Mm. They need to they need to have an arena where they actually are able to build relationship with each other, so that when they discuss the things together and actually going to work together on this, they can build a certain level of trust and communication. And then we're saying what we expect out of it, that there should be enhanced knowledge in terms of lectures, process work, and learning between local governments. The final target is a regional and local e-government, or DLA. This is a Norwegian expression for that. Local, the DLA, with action plans. So we're saying this is the target of the whole process. And create a common platform for problem understanding and opportunities. Look at the national targets and strategies, and they also have opportunities to go in depth in certain areas that they want to do. And then we show them the 4 network meetings, what they're about, the content of each one. The first one is introduction to Norwegian e-government issues, challenges, and possibilities. It's the first one. The second one, strategic management and governance of the whole ICT area. And we also go into especially effective work processes and return on investment. We spend a whole day on that, on work
Right.
processes on return on investment. Right. So, and we have the first day is on governance, and the second day is on return on investment. Then we on the third session. Then we go into the DLA strategy and action plans, and because then on the two first ones they actually have a basis for thinking about the DLA. So then they use that as a means of discussing how, and we have a workshop on that, on how they're actually going to work with the DLA. And the fourth gathering is a follow-up of the DLA process and how far they've come, and questions and other topics that we take up. And then we show them the agendas and everything. We introduce the SEMSTI project that this is a part of. So we explain that they're part of an EU project. And then we say something about the financial, how to finance it. And we charge about about £900 per participant for the whole program. So that's basically the presentation. And hello.
May I join?
Yes.
Sure.
And the way we're selling this in is basically we approach areas where there already some form of regional cooperation. They're already established some kind of formal relationship between each other. So typically the one I'm going to show here, the one that this one here, like Oppdalsregionen here, this one up in middle of Norway, they were 13 local governments who had decided to cooperate on a certain level, but they just started, and they have not yet made kind of a progress in terms of what the cooperation should be on. But there's 13 local governments that found out that they're not able to do this alone themselves anymore, so they need to cooperate. So I was up there in a meeting with these 13 chief executives, and within 45 minutes presenting this presentations, they made the first decision they ever made in that group, was that this they definitely wanted to do. And they also, one of the reasons they also said that they wanted to do is that partly because of course it's important, but also it's a process to get the whole region getting better working together.
Yeah.
It's a process to actually improving the interrelationship between the local governments. So they actually using it as a platform to actually gain regional cooperation and having a common agenda for that. So but each network is different. Take Fosen Værnes up here, for example. Fosen is a region of 6 local governments, and Værnes is another of 7 local governments. There's 2 separate regions that we put into one network. And Fosen have been cooperating on ICT issues for 5, 6, 7 years, and they've come far away. But they've come into the classic problem that they managed a technological basis. They managed to work together, but they have not taken anything out in terms of processes and work processes and innovation and new services and etc. So they've kind of hit the wall. Because how are we now going to do this? We need to move further on. I mean,
does that get as far as sharing process maps or just basic ways of working?
no, what they're doing is just sharing technology.
Technology.
Yeah. So they come to the level that, well, what should we use this for? Right? So they need to have a strategic plan of, okay, how should we evolve on basis on this.
You know, behind that slide there are these documents, and you said one. Did you say one was the national DLA? Could you go back and just explain what those documents are, where they come from? Are they authored by you or
These ones.
Yeah.
This is the KS DLA. This is the DLA from Norway that Svein Erik Virtil, you know him? Remember him? Yes. Svein Erik and Osandron was one of the initiative takers on the DLA, right? And Svein Erik brought the idea of a national DLA, which is this. So this document here, if I blow it up here, this document here is actually the DLA from Norway that Svein Erik has sold into the Sandmo organization, and also Sondron, which is the basis for the DLA cloud. I mean, one of the aspects of it.
Okay, so my limited understandings, we talk about a DLA methodology and a DLA plan. This is a plan that results from, as it were, applying the methodology, but on a national level. This is a plan for the nation.
Yeah, yeah, it's for the nation. So it's like it says something about the overall priority within the local governments in Norway to have a focus on, right? And it also has some action points to it.
Could you share that with us?
Sure.
That'd be great. And the other documents you mentioned?
This one here is on school and the school system, and this one over here is on the health and healthcare.
Right.
And if you go up to the top level document here, this one here, this one shows 3 documents that is national state government documents that kind of says something about how the state and the government wants the nation to evolve into. Right? So there's policy documents, yes.
Okay.
Says something about how should public sector evolve into the future by using advanced technology to deliver better services to the citizens and all that.
Right. So all partners really ought to be able to identify similar documents in their own countries.
Should be.
Yeah.
And and in terms of the KS document for national strategy, I think many, I don't know how many have done that in Europe, but I mean they probably have some statements on it in terms of how to evolve into by using e-government strategies and stuff like that. But I think on a national level, most governments in Europe today develop plans like that.
Yeah, in fact, we had some quite extensive ones at the start of, in the early days of the Blair government. And
Yeah.
of course, things have all changed through the administration recently, but
Yeah.
a lot of that applies.
So what we do now is sell this in, and what we've done by that again, we've made this plan here, and this is the plan for each network and the dates that when the network is being held. So we made a detailed plan for all the way up till June, July, August, which basically details every week how many meetings we're going to have and what networks are having which meeting at what date, which is all planned out. And we're done with February, January now, so these 2 have started up. This is the first meetings here. And we're ending up, Finnmark is finished in March with their 4th meeting, so they're done by then. And and in the structure here we have network sessions. Network session 1, these are all the presentations that we use. So we have, what we're doing is that we have, I'm responsible for some of the content. We have participants from state organizations and KS and other local governments coming in various parts in these sessions, delivering speeches and experience, and we're discussing all the topics. So for each of those session topics that we have for each session, we bring in resources where necessary in terms of making the presentations complete and the gatherings complete.